classmates. My name is Dee Dee Vogt. Tonight I'm going to be doing my informative speech on the American juvenile justice system and the role that rehabilitation plays in the juvenile justice system. I hope you enjoy the presentation. We're going to be going over the history and the background, the demographics, the prevention and interventions, and the criticism of the rehabilitation method. The history of the juvenile system goes all the way back to the early 1900s. It was established a century ago. It was established in 1899 in Chicago, Illinois. In the 60s and 70s, they embodied the rehabilitative vision of the progressive era. In the 80s and the 90s, a newer juvenile justice system consisted of harsher attitudes toward juvenile offenders. They were known as super predators. In the 1990s to the present day, they have a more rehabilitative model, and it has been reintroduced into the system. This graph here shows you by demographics, by race, how the amount of juveniles that were incarcerated in the year 2014. As you see by the graph, Caucasians were at 63%, African Americans were at 34%, and Asians and American Indians are only at 3% of incarceration rates for juveniles during 2014. This is just another graph here of the American youth in detention. It states that more than 90,000 American youths were incarcerated in 2006. It just shows the comparison of age to the race of the juvenile. The juvenile justice model states that the punishment should fit the crime. The main goal is based solely on the rehabilitating of the offender. One of the most important aspects is reducing recidivism by the youth before entering the juvenile court system. It should be the primary goal of all delinquency proceedings. Juvenile justice model continued. Most adolescents tend to commit nonviolent crimes only once or a few times in their lifespan. If rehabilitation is not the main goal of the juvenile justice system, juveniles are more apt to commit violent crimes later on in life. According to a Moffitt study that was done, there are two types of adolescent offenders. There is the repeat offender and the age-specific offender. The juvenile justice system main goal or goals is to ensure that the juvenile is held accountable for their actions or wrongdoings, but yet they are treated fairly in the juvenile justice system. This here is just another graph that I got off the line. It shows the juvenile arrest rate in 2008 by category of crime. It shows you that 74% of the juveniles committed other assaults, vandalism, and breaking curfew. 20.8% of the crimes that were committed were property crimes such as arson and theft. The lowest amount of crimes committed were violent crimes, and that consisted of rape, murder, and aggravated assault. That was only at 4.6 in 2008. Juvenile justice provision is aimed at preventing youth from becoming involved in crimes as youth and becoming criminals and involved in antisocial activities. Prevention programs may consist of substance abuse education and treatment, youth mentors, parenting education, family counseling and educational support, and so on. This just shows you a chart of Ohio's recidivism rate declines. It shows you that they're at an 11-year low. The blue here shows that in 2007 and 2010, they had a rate of no return at 66%, which is really good. It shows you that rehabilitation while in prison is working. School intervention programs. There was a program that was invented by a lady named Nancy Fisher in the state of Arizona. They developed a youth court. It was a program designed to show positive messages for youth. The court mimics a trial jury. The punishments handed out to the students are binding as school reprimands. This was developed to help monitor and to guide at-risk teens from entering into the juvenile justice system. The reason for these youth courts are for the accountability of students. There's approximately 1,100 youth courts in operation across the states today. The youth courts deal with lower level offenses that are nonviolent. Usually these practices are alternatives to detention or suspension. The program is totally voluntary and helps students make better decisions and help to change their destructive behaviors. This kind of program will help guide at-risk teens from entering into the juvenile justice system. The next article we have here is a study that showed that some interventions may leave at-risk teens worse off than if there had never been an intervention. This is due to placing large groups of adolescents together in large groups which only promulgate the violent or delinquent behavior. Putting these at-risk teens together gives them time to talk about the bad things that they have done, and it was received by their peers as a reinforcement line which promotes the bad behavior among them. But as you can see from prior slides, the rehabilitative method seems to be working for the most part to help guide offenders from becoming adult offenders. This is just a reference page, and it shows you who I went by and some of the reference I got. I just want to tell you that I thank you for listening to my presentation and looking at my PowerPoint, and I hope that you learned something from this presentation, and I look forward to looking at your presentations in a few minutes. You have a good night. Thank you.